What's going on, everybody? Poem here with Late Night Gaming. I'm here with some round two action. This is the San Francisco Season 0 Planetary Qualifier. And we have a matchup here against with Andrew K against Scanning Crew. And it looks like Scanning Crew is going to be running Ray Red, and Andrew K is on Boba Blue. So Boba Blue, an interesting deck. Um, getting the blue stuff, getting the late game, the Avenger, the Blast, all that, but then you can do some crazy stuff where you're mitigating, but you're also developing a little bit of a board state yourself through the resource generation of Boba. Looks like there's the control decks often want to have some yellow in there for control mirrors. So yellow blue is good in control mirrors. Certain you get certain units like we see here with Bazine, which is good in a control mirror. There's like the bounty hunter crews and things like that to recur certain events. So if you just play yellow blue control, you have an advantage in the control mirrors versus the mono blue decks. You just pay extra for your vigilance. So we will see how this game transpires. Bazine coming into base for one. Ray Red. We saw Ray Green in the first round. And Ray Red, I think, is a little bit more of a traditional Ray archetype. Really, both of these decks both trying to play into the late game. The villainy side traditionally has had, up to this point in the game's life, a little bit more power on the top end. We've got some capital ships that really move the needle, things like Avenger. And then you have obviously Super Laser Blast. So in a control versus control environment, the the villain decks have a little bit of an inherent advantage, I think, for those reasons. Just both these decks are trying to get to a top end. The Ray is trying to get to things like, Poe Dameron. I actually don't even know about a lot about the Ray deck. I'm not even going to pretend like I do, but maybe Redemptions, Luke Skywalker, but that doesn't really compare to things like Snoke and Avenger and such. So R2 comes down, and then we see Enticing Reward placed on R2. Enticing Reward seeing a lot of play right now. It is cheap, and it nets you a card. And card advantage in this game is a little bit underrated, especially when there's some discard decks out there, things like Han 2 Blue and such. So we see the Tarkin Town used on Bazine. Well, it seems a little premature there. Hard to say, though, for sure. The Enticing Reward is procced, as we see Power of the Dark Side played on R2-D2. So both players prioritizing removal. That's what their decks do. They remove stuff. So it would make sense that they're coming into the game with that perspective. Play their mitigation because they know they have more in their deck. So the Boba player netting 2 cards. Looks like he's drawing Vigilance and Takedown. So we basically paid 1 to draw a card, and we made our deck smaller. That's what Enticing Reward did. We're playing with a 47 card deck with a card like that. It just seems like just a good card. It's a good card if your game plan is to kill things. If your game plan is to kind of go base or whatever, um, maybe not as good. Looks like we got some village people, maybe a tech in there. Saw maybe an open fire. Defensive units for the Ray player. And it looks like he drew into a cannon and R2 resources. The R2 saw one of the Clan Saxon gauntlets, it looks like, in the Boba deck. My top-down camera, I really prioritize just getting good gameplay for you guys as opposed to getting the hands. I just wanted to make sure we could see what was going on. So we may not have, unless the players are cognizant, maybe they've played on stream before and they understand to kind of reveal when they can. But if you look closely, you can get some glimpses of what's coming. I think I might have seen a crate dragon in that Ray hand. Like that second card to the left kind of looks like a crate dragon. I think I saw an Obi-Wan in there. Looks like some mitigations. Some blue mitigation there in the left hand. Both players thinking through their actions, and that can be a little bit problematic if we're in a control versus control from a time management perspective. We're being very thoughtful in our decision making, which is fine. But the game rules kind of necessitate a little bit of a quicker play decisions in this type of matchup. I would surmise. So tech coming down looks like smuggled in for 5, if I'm not mistaken. Boba's sitting on 6 resources, and he's going to deploy now. Gonna likely try to take out that tech. That can be a problematic unit. And then Ray being deployed. Question is, who is the beatdown? And who is the control player? Not sure where that damage came from on the base. It's kind of mysterious damage appeared. And Boba rightfully swinging into tech, understanding the threat that unit places on, and it's an existential threat to the board state. He simply allows you too much flexibility to play from your resource row, which generates net card advantage, which is invaluable in a matchup like this. This game, Star Wars Unlimited, has really created, I think, although there's maybe some balance issues, for the most part, there are viable archetypes, aggro, mid-range, and control archetypes. And I think, that is a success of this game. You can play a certain play style and be successful. And I think especially if you have your deck tuned and you know the meta, you know your deck, you know the matchups, and you come into a tournament prepared. Now, obviously, I think we'd like to see, um, maybe a little bit more variety in some of the leaders. And again, it remains to be seen whether the Boba will be as powerful when he loses a little bit of the potency, with balance becoming less of a factor in set 3, but we shall see. Remember, bounce, not as effective on those token units. That looks like a vigilance. That's going to kill that unit. It's going to go ahead and, looks like maybe he's milling. Hard to, no, then he didn't mill. Not quite sure what happened there. Have to excuse me, sometimes I try to pay attention, but there we go. It looks like we are seeing a mill of 6. It was just a little bit of a delayed response by scanning crew to get that dealt with. And again, pace of play. We're here sitting here in 11 minutes. We're still in game 1 and 0 base damage dealt. I'm, it's just a little bit. I think they're on track. They're on track. I think we've just been a little bit. We've been a little bit slow in the decision making so far. From what I would be just a little bit faster. Just to try to make sure we can get all 3 games in. I don't think I've seen anything that's college judge worthy. But just something to consider. Just try to keep that pace on keep that train on the tracks. So K2SO coming in a 4/4 unit with an ability to hit that hand, discard that hand, try to gain some card advantage here as we transition into the late game. And a Rival's Fall played on Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's going to generate 2 additional experience onto K2SO. If a Power of the Dark Side is in hand here for Andrew, he's going to be feeling very good about the current state of affairs. And a claim taken by Scanning Crew. And Power of the Dark Side comes down right on cue. And just a perfect answer. We see a discard of McClunky. Not really relevant right now. Not necessary to keep that card in hand. And we are just getting stable. And again, the later this game goes, I think we give the advantage to the Boba Fett player. He's got the big capital ships. He's got the Snoke. He's got the Avenger. He's got the ability to dictate the late game. Obviously, if we see a crate dragon, that could present some issues here. Yoda being played 2/4 with Restore 2 and ability to draw cards, so he cantrips himself. He replaces himself, so he is an incredible unit. Just a great unit, all in all. And we're all looking to see what that card is, because nobody knows. So it's a yellow card that is getting a bounty, it looks like. Forget what that one's called. So we're searching our deck to get a bounty so that we can continue with our card advantage, get that mitigation that we need in order to be successful. And we have Dr. Pershing again, just stacking the hand there for the Boba player. It looks like takedown on Dr. Pershing. using quite the mitigation suite to take out that card advantage. But I can see where Scanning Crew is afraid of that Dr. Pershing just drawing a card every single round. How that can really stack up into um, a problematic scenario. The more cards that Andrew has, the more answers that he can find. There is the Avenger finally coming, and he's proccing that enticing reward. Truly, truly showing the power of the blue villain control. The question is, what type of answers does Ray run in the deck? Do we have a Fell the Dragon to answer the Avenger? I think most decks are not running um, Vanquish anymore. Most of the blue control decks. And I missed something. Is that a Rival's Fall played on the Avenger? That is definitely an answer. Still no base damage. And the advantage comes because of Boba's ability to recur units. So the yellow is going to be able to get in there. It's going to be able to recur. It's going to be able to play Bounty Hunter Crew. I'm sorry, recur events. It's going to be able to get restocks or get. I don't even know what these guys are doing these days. Get your vigilances with your Bounty Hunter Crew and all this kind of stuff. Becomes quite a. It's an entirely different game that most of us aren't even playing. But the control people, they know what they're talking about. They know what this game is all about, and this control versus control. It becomes again, who's got more answers? You know, who's running the greedy? I was talking with Tower Number 9, and he was saying in these control mirrors, it's whoever's running the more of a percentage of these cards that are sort of greedy in the control versus control matchup, and those are the decks that ended up winning in these type of situations. So your Bounty Hunter crews and things like that, restocks. All right, that looks like a Lompike being smuggled in. Lompike, seeing a lot of use. I honestly think this card started seeing more use as my old pal Wu um, hyped it up. So Wu put it in his Kira deck and really was talking about in some of his videos about how underplayed it was. And then I think overnight people, trust him and trust his judgment and really started looking into this card. And that's really the influence of Wu, and mad respect for that guy. He really knows his stuff. And so it looks like we've got the village people with an experience and a Obi-Wan Kenobi on the Rey side. So starting to develop a little bit of a board. We got a little bit of an excitement going on. Not so much of a. We're starting to see some action start to develop. The question is, can Rey? It seems like the Boba has been gaining some card advantage through the enticing rewards, and also has been sniping. Yeah, so he's been getting card advantage, and the question is, where are we at in hand, and how does How does the Ray player respond to and deal with like a super laser blast? Can the Ray player really commit to placing too many units on board? And another vigilance played, just really zapping that deck here. For a while in set one, towards the end of the meta, I was actually running a 60 card deck. I wasn't running a control. That was my answer. I was running a control deck. It was a blue Tarkin deck, but I wasn't running weird. That was my answer in the control mirror, was just to play a bigger deck, and I found some success with that. I definitely could beat like the red blue Vader and like some of the other green blue green villain decks, because I was basically immune to being milled. Like I had more of a runway, and yeah, it was definitely interesting. I mean, if you start with 60 in your main and then you sideboard in 10 more, you know, it's going to be hard for them to get over the hump. These days in set two, I find that we're in a situation where aggro and mid range is kind of ruling the land. So we see the super laser blast coming through and creating restart a restart to the game essentially, and we've got there's the crate dragon. Do we have a fell the dragon? We only have 3 resources on board. A Tower of the Dark Side. What an answer. Only takes 3 damage. Just an incredible answer. Here's the thing. Again, Andrew has been prioritizing um, card draw. He's played those enticing rewards. He's done his homework. He's got the cards in hand. He had the power of the dark side at the optimal moment to answer that Great Dragon. Definitely an exciting turn of events here, and a Sabine Wren played on the back end of the round. I could have seen the argument for dropping Sabine and then with the 3 resources up by the Boba player, then playing the Great Dragon. Arguably a massive misplay by Scanning Crew, I would say. With 3 resources up by the Boba player, we have enough resources to play a Crate Dragon and a Sabine, and we drop that Crate Dragon first. Just mental error here from Scanning Crew. Just getting Power of the Dark Side punished. So then Bazine coming through, she's going to take a problematic unit out of hand, possibly that looks like maybe can't really tell, maybe a pillage in there, maybe what do we take out of there? Looks like the K2SO, hard to really tell. Looks like the K2SO taken from hand by Bazine. Makes sense. K2 does, he sticks a guy on the board and he does discard a card from hand. In these control matchups, cards are currency. So again, we're at 24 minutes. We want to try to shoot for a 20-minute game. A top target played. A 20-minute game allows 3 games to be played in the time allotted. When we are playing these control matchups, it is going to be of the utmost importance that we are thinking quickly, taking quick actions, so that if we get to that game 3, we can finish in the time necessary. My strategy for dealing with control decks is to main deck my answers for them and then sideboard in my aggro answers. And that allows me to win game one. And so they are forced to increase their pace of play and make sure we get to the end game. If you lose that game one against a control deck, you're just not winning two more. Super Laser Blast, proccing top target, healing the base. We are the Ray player, and we're wondering how do we possibly punch through Avenger, Super Laser, another Super Laser Blast in hand. I can see it there. Andrew's got another Super Laser Blast. He's not going to commit to the board. He's going to maybe entrench the unit. I see an entrenched in there. He's going to just play his mitigation. He's going to get one more blast off, and then he's just going to take control of this game. And Scanning Crew sitting on a Luke Skywalker, wondering how he's going to deal with that last Super Laser Blast. And we did have a Luke Skywalker cleaning up the Dr. Pershing. Question is whether we've seen enough units come down to bait out that last blast. Oh, there it is. Went and baited that thing out. And we have the scoop. All right, we're going into game two. I'm going to get us fast forwarded while they analyze deck lists and do their sideboarding. And I got a little ahead of myself. So we have a Green Squadron A-Wing being played by Ray. We're in game two of round two of the San Francisco Season 0 Planetary Qualifier. Shout out to Gamescape, who hosted an incredible event, tons of prize support. My son, who was there, who went 0-7, he didn't have a deck that he really knew what to do with. I had built him a Han deck, and he got a little confused, I think. And Han 1 deck. And the owner, or the manager, I think it was David, was so incredible. He just gifted him like a playmat and then some deck boxes and stuff. So just huge shout out to Gamescape here in San Francisco. So definitely, if you're ever in the Bay Area, stop by and check them out. Just super cool event. They had a taco truck. They had they had all the taco truck was absolutely killer. They had pizza for the guys in the top cut. Just super cool. I played in the event. I'm not going to reveal my showing quite yet because we're still in the preliminary rounds. But I did play a Boba Red deck and had a nice showing. And as we progress here, again, no units on board, not the most riveting stuff. Control versus control. Kanan, top target comes on him. I just don't see how the hero control can deal with the villain control. The villain control has Super Laser Blast. They've got Bazine to get in the hand. They have stronger late game threats and things like Avenger. It's just quite the uphill climb for a Ray deck to try to figure out how to navigate their way through a matchup like this. And this Boba blue deck, the pilot Andrew seems like he really knows his way around this deck. Really understands what he's doing. Developing quite the hand, quite the board state. He's able to resource every round sort of infinitely into deep late game. He can have end up with 12 or 13 or 14 resources down. And that looks like that villain card. I think it's No Bargain or something like that, or no, I forget what it's called. And it's going to go ahead and force a discard, I believe, from the array player. I think that's how that card works. I don't remember what it does. I have to say. When I get around to it, I'll look it up for you. I think it did generate a discard. So, you have to discard yourself basically to play that card, but if your deck is built around card advantage, discarding your opponent is definitely an effective strategy if they don't have their own card draw engines in place. Looking it up. Oh, there's the Poe Dameron coming down. No Bargain. Each opponent discards a card from their hand and you draw a card. So you actually don't lose card advantage. You actually just lose 3 resources. You actually gain card advantage through this card. They're discarding a card and you are cantripping yourself. So an incredible card in a matchup like this. Another way that the villain deck has an advantage. Poe Dameron is presenting a threat. What kind of answers does Andrew have to that threat? So we have Bounty Hunter Crew Ambush for 4. We can go into the discard pile. We're going to grab the Power of the Dark Side. It looks like, nope. We're still thinking about what we want to grab. Lots of options. Power of the Dark Side, definitely a great choice. What can Scanning Crew possibly do? He's got a Boba to contend with. Poe Dameron is not dead yet. Good catch by Andrew. Ray being deployed. And the Poe Dameron being taken out by Boba. Going to generate 2 additional resources. Not enough for Power of the Dark Side. But at the top of the round, we're going to be able to Power the Dark Side that Ray. Take that threat off the board. Question is whether we're going to drop in another enticing reward on it first. Or are we just going to just play that power? Yep, we're gonna be greedy, guys. We're gonna play that enticing reward at the end of the round. Okay, it was at the end of the round. That's not greed. He just had that card in hand. Drop it on there. Here we come into the next round. Get that Power of the Dark Side. Unless we can generate another unit. Pull another unit out of Scanning Crew. Just a horrible feeling here for Scanning Crew. How do I deal on this type of scenario? What are my outs? Your only option, it seems like, is some type of scenario that we had the chance at last round, where we have a Sabine or a Yoda or something down, and then we drop that crate, and then there's just no answer to the crate. The issue is the Super Laser Blast deals with a situation like that. Yoda coming in and absorbing that Power of the Dark Side. Question is whether there's another one. Bazine gonna come through and clean things up, figure out what's going on. And there's the crate dragon. Oh, punishing from Bazine. Just an incredible answer to that threat. Just get in there, just get it in that discard pile. Bazine, pay 2, deal 10 damage. That's basically what that was. Pay 2, win the game. That was the only real option here for scanning crew, was to stick that crate. Why mitigate it if you can just pull it right out of their hand? Hero just lacking an ability to hit the hand, get in there, clean up super laser blasts. Really creates a situation where they struggle in matchups like this. Maybe a pillage there, hard to tell. No, I actually have no idea. Force throw? Yep, force throw. Okay, so 2 damage going on to Bazine. The Dr. Pershing discarded. No need for Dr. Pershing right now. We've got plenty of cards in hand. We've got 5 or 6 cards in hand. We've already discarded some of their problematic units from hand. We've got rid of that crate dragon. We're feeling pretty good right now. We're gonna go ahead and recur, get the kill with Bounty Hunter Crew. We're gonna draw a card off Bounty Hunter Crew and proc Enticing Reward. This game's snowballing for Andrew, looking real strong. This Ray deck does present power, does deal with aggro, does deal, has play in the mid range. When it sees a control mirror like this, it wonders how it's gonna approach that type of matchup. What can it do to get over the hump? And we went ahead and we actually drew. We actually got to draw 2 cards, Super Laser Blast and McClunky, so we can McClunky that Bazine back, and we can play that baby again, or we can McClunky Bounty Hunter Crew. So we're getting nutty over here on the Andrew side. We had the Target Town cleaning up Bounty Hunter Crew. Question is how he's going to approach this next action. Okay, just claims initiative. "38 minutes in. Scanning Crew up against it. And an out of aspect Spark of Rebellion. Incredible. What does that include? That is amazing. Gonna grab Tech. What a choice. Tech over Redemption. Tech over Luke. Incredible choice. Wow. What is Andrew? I mean, Andrew knows best, but wow. Taking Tech over something like Luke and Redemption is amazing. What could the logic be on that? I mean, I'm sure he's just afraid of that Tech. He wants nothing to do with that guy. Okay. And then we have more discard and card advantage. Seeing those no bargains. Taking away answers. So we're losing either the Redemption or the Luke now. Redemption hitting the discard pile off of the no bargain. Just attacking the hand. We defeated a Crate Dragon and a Redemption simply with our card effects. No need to mitigate them if they can never hit the table. Scanning crew checking his resources, hoping there's some sort of answer in his resource row. Some type of smuggle. We've got a Sabine Wren coming through and just immediately killed by Cloud Rider. Wow. Untaps a resource with Boba. A claim taken by scanning crew. One to base with Basine. And now we're playing a Dr. Pershing. And we're just going to the next round. No need to hit that base. We're simply trying to just out card advantage our opponent. How does this win? How does, what is the end game? How are we going to defeat the base? What are we going to do here? I see another Crate Dragon, hoping there's no answer. And it looks like Fell the Dragon is in hand. Oh, baby, that is the only hope. That was the only hope. Was to stick that crate and pray for no answer in hand. Obviously, Andrew knew the importance of that crate and was holding on to that Fell the Dragon. Was not going to resource that card. Absolutely no way he resources that. Was hoping to see that McClunky off of the Bazine. Looks like that's not going to happen. We just damage Bazine with Dr. Pershing to draw a card. And the client being played. 2/5 shielded. And Boba Blue looking really nice here. Just a really solid build here from Andrew. Solid build, solid pilot. Kanan hitting the board 4/5 with Restore. Is a force unit for force throw relevant? And the client just hitting straight away into Kanan. Maybe we see another Vigilance here to clean up the Kanan in Mill 6. Dr. Pershing hitting the client, drawing a card. What a card Dr. Pershing is. And there's the Vigilance cleaning up the Kanan, milling 6, and just breaking the back of scanning crew. Just running out of cards. That deck is looking real thin. The actual tilt that is experienced when playing against a deck like this, Boba Yellow, is very real. I can feel it just commentating this game. I can feel the anger that must be felt by somebody facing a deck like this. The actual tilt that you go on trying to deal with something like this. I cannot see that unit. He's off the board. Sorry, guys. Looks like maybe a Lompike smuggled in. Indeed, a Lompike. So starting to build his board. Andrew is starting to say, I'm actually gonna kill your base now. I've got 100,000 cards in my hand. I have a bigger deck than you, and I'm coming at you into base. That looked like an open fire on the client. Just why not, man? Just draw another card, buddy. Oh, you're gonna kill your own Dr. Pershing. Maybe he's got another one. He's got some kind of reason to do that, for sure. Sitting on 11 resources over there. Not concerned about the K2. We've got an ability to just attack into that thing. Maybe we even play an Avenger and just take over this game right now. Oh, thought about the takedown. Decided to hit base with Lompike. He's going to shield both units. And then he's going to take down. Lompike, the logic on Lompike is that who cares if they have shields if you have removal events that don't care about shields? Take down, make an opening, and such. And another vigilance. Just seeing your deck just melt away. We've got 5 or 6 cards left in that puppy. And we're just trying to figure out how we get to a late game victory. How do we win this game and then get to another game 3 and try to win that game? It just seems like an impossible challenge here from Scanning Crew. Scanning Crew doing a great job of sportsmanship, playing through the match, having fun, enjoying his PQ experience, even though he's playing against a deck that presents a little bit of an NPE. But what are you going to do? It's a known commodity. You have to be prepared for this type of thing. Got to test, your deck into a gauntlet that includes a villain control deck. You will see them. Make an opening, a very clean answer to the healed redemption. It's not that that was very necessary. He had Entrenched, he had Fell the Dragon. He has any answer to any threat that could possibly be played by Scanning Crew here. He's holding that Fell the Dragon for, I think, the last crate that might be in the deck. And a Scoop. And there you have it, guys. That was round 2 of San Francisco Season 0 Planetary Qualifier. Once again, shout out to Gamescape. And definitely tune in for round 3 action. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.